Still Waste the Deep and games like it are a bit of a conundrum for me, as on one hand I think that these type of games can tell amazing and compelling stories that suck you in on a first playthrough. But that's the thing, after the first playthrough, the charm starts to wear off. You already know the story, and a lot of the times in these games the linear gameplay just isn't enough to get me through any future playthroughs, and they begin to feel more like walking sims. So let's start with what I think is good about the game, the story. The game is set on a Scottish oil rig and you play as Kaz, an electrician who was taken up a job on the oil rig due to getting into trouble with the law in the mainland and using it to lay low for a while. Your boss Rennick finds out about the police looking for you very early in the game and subsequently fires you. But as you go up to the helicopter waiting for you, an explosion happens causing you to go back to see what you can do to help. Quickly find out that the oil rig has drilled into something extraterrestrial, and the thing that they drilled into is causing other members of the crew to become these melted balls of flesh, or in the case of this gentleman here, a cool looking fleshlight. As your character has a wife and kids, he isn't too keen on becoming somebody else's boy toy, so he wants to escape. Now the characters in this game are brilliant. As a tradesman myself, I can confirm that the way they all talk to each other is very accurate. Now, because these guys are Scottish, they do use a lot of Scottish slang and sayings, and I was actually quite shocked that I had heard a lot of these sayings before over here in Australia. If I had to guess, I'd say I knew about 70% of them and only looked at the subtitles for the other 30%. Unfortunately, when it comes to the gameplay, I can't give as much praise as I've given the story. The gameplay is very linear to say the least. If you've ever played a horror game before where you're unable to fight back against enemies and your only option is to run and hide, then you've played Still Wakes the Deep before. But somehow this game is even more constrictive with its linearity than other games in this genre. Let's look at another game like Outlast for example. In Outlast, if you're caught by an enemy, there is usually quite a large area for you to run around and find places to hide, and even scavenge for some items. And trust me, at one point or another you will get caught and be on the run. Whereas in Still Wakes the Deep, because you're on an oil rig, there isn't really any large spaces between hiding spots, so you're never really in danger for more than 5 seconds at a time. In fact, I don't think I died from the stealth sections in this game at all. Most of my deaths were from whiffing jumps or from taking a wrong turn in the many chase scenes the game has. I don't even think enemies can grab you when you're inside hiding spots like they do in Outlast, making these stealth sections even more underwhelming than they were. Speaking of underwhelming, there are other parts of the game which feel like they're meant to be puzzle sections, but the puzzles are so linear you'll probably get past them without even realizing it was meant to be a puzzle. Here's an example from quite early on in the game. Oops, sorry, that's me perving on a bloke in the shower. Don't drop the soap there, big fella. Anyway, here's an example from quite early on in the game. As you can see here, there's some steam blocking our path to the right and a valve to the left. So we go and interact with that and it gets rid of the steam to this ladder, which we go down, and lo and behold, there's another ladder with gas stopping us and a valve right next to it. So we turn that valve and then go up the ladder, and there's a third valve which gets rid of the gas down the path that was on our right, and then we go on our merry way. Now this feels like it was meant to be a puzzle, but all it really did was make me turn 2 extra valves that they really could have just made the first valve do. And there's examples like this throughout the entire game where the path forward is blocked, and the way to unblock it is by pressing E on anywhere from 1 to 3 things that you don't even have to search for because they're right in front of you. This leads me back to my conundrum I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Although I did thoroughly enjoy my time with Still Wakes the Deep story, I just can't see myself replaying it due to the linearity of its gameplay. 7.5 out of 10. Anyway, legends, that's the end of the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed. Bye.
To be out. Rina checking and call.